The simple thing right now that's a rage in the world is, if you come to our ashram, all the people there who are physically immensely active, 10 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the evening, 2 meals. How many doctors have been telling me that they will die of malnourishment, this will happen, that will happen, you must do this, you must do that. I eat only 1 meal a day most of the days. 1 big meal I eat and that's it. And doctors telling me, no, Sadhguru, the way you're traveling, this will happen, that will happen, you must eat at least once in 4 hours, something you must eat. I said, leave me alone, I'm doing fine. But now, a big university in America comes up with this called intermittent fasting. It's not nonsense, it's good. But they rediscovered something that we have known forever. Now everybody is saying there must be a 16-hour gap. Then it will go away. Only if they become… their concentration becomes more than what they should be, or they gang up and locate themselves in one place, they become like organized crime. There are pickpockets in Kochi, I'm sure. Hello? They are small-time criminals, individually operating in twos and threes. We don't take it very seriously, we leave it because it happens. But suppose all 100 of them got organized into a organized crime, now we will crack down. Because we know now it becomes a threat to the society. Similarly, cancerous cells are like this. Criminals, they're moving around, doing some damage. Their only problem is, right now, they're generally eating about 8 to 12 times more than what the other cells are eating. So if you just give sufficient break between one meal and the other, most of them will die because they cannot survive. This is something we've been talking forever. But now they've discovered it with $1 billion research. And I've seen hundreds and thousands of people who just become healthy and well simply because they're not fueling up all the time when the tank is filling. In the yoga center, all the time people are physically active. So everybody is very hungry by the time it's 3:30, 4 o'clock in the evening, they're extremely hungry. But we learn to live with that because empty stomach and hunger are two different things. Hunger means your energy levels start dropping. But empty stomach is a good thing. In the yogic sciences, today modern science also is coming in line with this. But what we know by our experience, you will spend $1 billion to come there. Because research is all about how many $1 million, that's how it is. Your body and your brain works at its best only when your stomach is empty. So we always make sure we eat in such a way, how much ever we eat, our stomach must be always empty within 2 to 2.5 hours' time maximum. So we go to bed hungry always. People think they cannot sleep. They can sleep. On an average, for 25 years on an average, I slept only 2.5 to 3 hours. These days I'm getting little lazy and sleeping anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5 hours in spite of the level of travel that I have. When I say level of travel, if I say my level of travel in the next few days, you will fall off your chair. Yes? Should I tell you? No, not necessarily. Because in the next 10 days, I'm in 5 different countries doing I don't know how many events, all kinds of events. So, you're able to keep this up simply because you don't overeat. It's very, very important. Everybody eats 2 meals. I generally eat only 1 meal, 4:35 in the evening, because I don't like to sit in front of the plate and worry about how much to eat. I like to eat well. So, 4:35 in the evening, if I eat a meal, it's only next day. Is this enough? Am I looking okay? Hello? Because any correction and purification that needs to happen in the body, your stomach needs to be empty. It's very, very important. Otherwise, the purification on the cellular level will not happen. You pile up things and then you have all kinds of problems. When you don't touch the food, you do not know what it is. If food is not good enough to be touched, I don't know how it's good enough to be eaten.
So we should not have listened to our mothers, and we should eat with our fingers, because touching our food helps us stay in contact with it.
The cleanliness of your hands is entirely in your hands. The cleanliness of the fork is not entirely in your hands.
This is true.
And nobody else but you have used these hands. So, there is an assurance as to how clean or not clean it is right now. You do not know who's used it, how they've used it, for what they used it. And all they have to do is wipe it with a tissue and give it to you and it looks pretty clean. Above all, you don't feel the food. The first thing that's been taught to us is, if food appears in front of you, to hold your hands upon the food for a few moments, just to feel how the food is. If something appears on my plate, if I just feel this, I know what to eat and what not to eat, what I should not eat. I don't taste it and then reject it, I just don't eat. Because my hands are the first level, not tasting in the sense the tongue tastes, but knowing the food. First thing is knowing the food. You want to know a person, you guys go and shake their hands. I'm usually avoiding that, but
That's a good strategy.
But the food that's going to become a part of you, first thing is your hands. Even if you physically don't touch it, just being conscious and being there, it clearly tells you how the food will behave within you. Whether this particular food on this particular day, should it go into you or not, because every day your body is not the same thing. Every day, every moment it's different. If you feel the food, you just know whether this food has to go into you on this day or not. If that much awareness is brought in, we don't have to go on telling people what they should eat. Every meal they must decide what they should eat in that meal. There is no one prescription that this is what you should eat for your life. That will feel too claustrophobic, that only this I can eat. Your selection of food and consumption of food also must happen consciously. More than what you eat, how you eat it is also equally important. When I say how you eat it, these are all live substances. Every one of them had a life of their own, whether it's a plant, animal, vegetable, every one of them had a life of their own. Now in some way, you're making food out of it, you must consume it with utmost gratitude. If you approach it with a certain sense of gratitude and reverence towards the food that you eat, when I say reverence, it may feel like too much for you, but I'm asking you, let's say we put you in a room and you had nothing to eat for 5 days. If God appears in front of you, what will you ask for? Food. It is life. It's very, very important we treat it with utmost gratitude and reverence.
I want to tell you, there is no such thing as good habit and bad habit. Habit means you are functioning unconsciously. If you are functioning unconsciously, that's a bad thing, because the whole thing about being human is we are capable of doing things consciously. That is the beauty of being human, that we can do everything consciously. What an animal does unconsciously, we can do the same thing consciously. We can eat unconsciously or we can eat consciously. We can breathe unconsciously or we can breathe consciously. Everything that we can do it consciously. The moment we do something consciously, suddenly that human being looks very refined and wonderful. Just because somebody walks and speaks consciously, doesn't he become a beautiful human being? Yes or no? That's all. So why is it that we are trying to develop habits as if there's a good thing? Habit means fixed realities, where you don't have to think. You get up in the morning and it'll happen to you. No, don't try to automate your life. That is not efficiency, that is the efficiency of the machine. This one is supposed to function intelligently and consciously. Nobody is expecting it to function like a machine. So, about food and stuff, food must be suitable for the body that we eat for. It is for the body. This is a building material for this body, the food that you're eating. What is the appropriate food? Unfortunately, it's all messed up right now. Traditionally, we ate very sensibly in this country, but these 1,000 years of innovations have brought other kinds of food cultures, and today the national diet is pizza or pasta. What is it? Which is one? I don't know. Both were competing. So, we are losing our sense about food. It's definitely time to look at what is the most suitable thing. If I go into that food, it's a very long process, but you must experiment with food, not just by the tongue, but by the body. You eat something today and see, just learn to observe how agile and how active your body feels after eating this food. If it feels like it wants to go to the grave, that's not good food. If it feels like it wants to be alive after eating this, except coffee, because that's a stimulant. If you eat food and your body feels very agile and alive, that means it's good food, body is liking it. If you eat something, it feels dull, that means it's not liking it, it's having difficulty with it, that's why it feels dull. So just on this basis, there's a much… this is a very simplistic way of putting it. You can incubate a lot of either negative things or positive things in sleep.
Getting too easy. Just sleeping sadhana. So coming awake to an alarm bell with a sudden start is not the best way to do your life. How many of you find that one day morning when you get up without any reason, you're just feeling ugly for no reason? If it is happening even at least 2-3 times a year, if it is, then you must do certain things before you go to bed. It's very, very important. Because unconsciously, you need to understand this, you can incubate a lot of either negative things or positive things in sleep. Either pleasantness or unpleasantness, you can incubate very effectively, uninterrupted in sleep. You can also incubate it in the day, but there are so many interruptions, it doesn't happen very efficiently. But if you have a tendency to go to bed in a certain way and you wake up in the morning really nasty for simply no reason, that means you're incubating things in the night very efficiently. Bad eggs. This is not just about psychological disturbances, it can cause major physiological problems over a period of time. It's important that you eliminate these things from your life. So, before you go to bed in the night, there are certain things that you need to take care of. It's best if you're eating meat and other kinds of meals, you eat at least 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. The digestion is over. Before going to bed, drink a certain amount of water and go to bed. You will see it gets taken care of just like this. One simple thing can be just a shower. Always to shower before go to bed, it'll make a lot of difference. In this weather, maybe cold showers are difficult, so you go for lukewarm showers, don't go for hot showers in the night. Go for lukewarm showers, it makes you alert. So you will think, oh, I cannot sleep.
It doesn't matter, you will sleep 15, 20 minutes or half an hour later, but you will sleep better because it will take away certain things. When you shower, it is not just the dirt on the skin that you're taking away. Have you noticed if you're very tense and anxious, whatever, just a shower, you came out and feels like almost the burden has been taken away from you? Have you not noticed this? So it's not just about washing the skin. A whole lot of things happen when water flows over your body. This shower is a very rudimentary bhuti shuddhi because over 70% of your body is actually water. If you run water over it, a certain purification happens, which is beyond cleaning the skin. One more thing if you want to do, you just light an organic oil lamp, a cotton wick, some oil, anything. What do you use here? Normal cooking oil. Linseed oil, rice bran oil or sesame oil, what do you have? Olive oil, fine. Any organic oil with a cotton wick, just burn one little lamp somewhere in the room where you sleep. You will see these things will completely disappear. If you can bring in a chant or there are nightly practices, yogic practices, before you go to bed, sit on your bed and do this practice.
Do you know, if you live for about 60 years, on an average, most human beings are eating anywhere between 1100 to 1400 tons of food. So that means even what you think is my body is not this, it's changing every day. New input is happening and old things are going away. So 1400 tons, you don't have to carry that much of weight right now. So obviously, what you have as a body right now is just a transient amount of food and soil, isn't it? Hello? So what you think is mine also is not it is just all the time changing. Tonight before you go to bed, spend at least 12–15 minutes reminding yourself, you're neither this body nor this mind. Just lie down and just remind yourself, this body is not really you. It is mine right now for use, but it's not really me. If you're not able to do it, just link it to your breath. Inhalation, I'm not the body. Exhalation, I'm not even the mind. Just lie down for 12 minutes and do it. Till the last moment, till you fall asleep. This is something you must notice.
God's plan is always the best. Sometimes the process is painful and hard, but don't forget that when God is silent, He's doing good for you.
If they learn to sort this out very early in their life, I'm sure they can work half the number of hours that they're working and be a lot more productive than the way they are right now.
Let me start off, Sadhguru, by asking you that you probably are the biggest multitasker that I have met in my life. You are into sharing wonderful things with people, millions of people, and you find the time to play golf, and you ride a motorcycle like a champion. You're on a helicopter. You do a lot of stuff in ecosystems with your green hands. I don't know what all you do. How do you manage your time?
That last thing was not a good thing. I don't know what all you do, not a good thing.
No, that is a sense of amazement. And there are people who are very busy people, and so we believe we are very busy people. We would like to know as to how you manage your time and what is the kind of advice you would like to give us so that life beyond work is a lot more meaningful, at least a little more meaningful than what we lead, a little closer to the kind of meaningful life that you lead?
From what I observe from people, as I travel more and more, meet various kinds of people in business, academics, science, and regular people all over the world, what I see is most people in the 24 hours that we have per day, they're more preoccupied than busy. That is, their own thoughts and their own emotions are such a big issue that most of their time is spent dealing with that. They may be working, but in their work, a lot of struggles are within themselves. If you are in any kind of sport or any creativity, you would know that a little struggle means your ball will go somewhere else, your ragam talam will go somewhere else, your painting will go somewhere else, nothing will happen properly. Or in other words, what could happen very simply, unfortunately happens with lots of difficulty. This is mainly because they have been given a phenomenal gadget or a phenomenal machine, which is the human mechanism, above all, a phenomenal dimension called the mind. They are trying to operate this phenomenal machine or a gadget or a computer, if you'd like to call it, without reading the user's manual. Every day struggling with their own stuff, and it doesn't get solved before they're 20 or something. Till their last day on their deathbed, they're still struggling with the same things, their thoughts and their emotions. If they learn to sort this out very early in their life, I'm sure they can work half the number of hours that they're working and be a lot more productive than the way they are right now. My effort is to bring this possibility to people's lives, that you can live life with ease, not with struggle. One thing is, when we say work, it's many young people, wonderful people who are getting recognized for whatever wonderful things they have done, leaving them apart, but generally work means always been… people have been taught that they must work hard. Nobody told them they must work joyfully. Nobody told them their work should be an expression of their joy or their love. They have to work hard. If you work hard, life will be tedious. How else will it be? You will do something hard only because you don't know how to do it. If you know how to do it, you would do it with ease. So without learning how to do something, if we try to do it, without investing enough time in perception, if life is all expression, then life becomes a big struggle. Most people are not doing anything except earning a living, maybe reproducing and dying one day, nothing more. They may believe they're doing many things, but this is all they're doing. Eating, sleeping, reproducing, dying one day. That is such a big fuss. Every other creature is able to do this, from an earthworm to an insect to anything and anything. Everybody is doing this, they all earn their own living, they eat, they sleep, they reproduce and they die. With 1/1,000,000th of our brain, they're able to do it. With this big brain, human beings are struggling not with the things that they're doing, they're struggling with the brain itself. Their own intelligence has become a serious problem. What is the biggest boon in our life? What is the greatest benefaction in our life? which is our intelligence. This has become a problem because they don't know how to hold it, they don't know how to use it, constantly it works against themselves. When I say it works against you, people may call all kinds of names, may use all kinds of words to describe this. They may call it stress, they may call it tension, they may call it misery, they may call it depression. So my fundamental work is this, that at least your body and your mind should work for you. Nobody else may work for you, it doesn't matter. At least your body and your intelligence must work for you. If this one thing happens, you living blissfully, gracefully, effectively is an
must understand how this civilization evolved. Because we were protected by the Himalayan ranges and by the Indian Ocean, which was Indusagara, we became a bit complacent. We invested in spiritual process, mathematics, astronomy, music, all kinds of aesthetics. But we did not create enough fighting men because there was no fighting except some local skirmishes that were happening here and there. But once people learned how to find the passes in the Himalayan mountains, they came only to loot, rape and run away. But they saw people were so docile, they became emperors. So that continues in us because somewhere deep inside, we think something will protect what we are. There is a truth to it, but at the same time, when times change, our responses have to change accordingly. If we don't change, we will regret this.
Today you see 12, 13-year-old kids thoroughly bored because they've seen the cosmos through their cell phone screen. All the time on this, they just know everything by information, not by exploration, not by experience. This is a dangerous trend. Over a period of time, we're going to pay a huge price for this because a load of
Ratan Tata being here today and this Lifetime Achievement Award, the doyen of Indian industry. In many ways, the Tata Group has not just been a business, but a significant part in making up this nation. We acknowledge you for that, sir. A tiny little human being become a giant. There's a simple formula. No philosophies are needed, no teachings are needed, no great scriptures are needed. You just have to remove one single thought from your mind. You just have to remove, what about me, from your life. People need to die.
When and how is the only question, isn't it? So if death comes to us, yes, we will do everything possible to save ourselves. But if it goes beyond that, let us learn to die gracefully. Let's not fight with it and fight with it like endlessly. It's a horrible way to die. The way people are dying in Western countries is really a horrible way to die. Even though they're 85, 90, staying in a hospital with full of pipes and needles all over them, this is not. It's okay if you die 2 years early, what's the problem? You die peacefully and gracefully, that's more important, isn't it? See, death is the last thing that you do in your life, shouldn't you do it gracefully? We must learn to accept death as a part of our life. We are not wishing death, but when it comes, let us learn to go through it gracefully. If there is a possibility of saving ourselves, living beyond that, that is fine. But what I see in all the geriatrics homes in United States, many people are living beyond their death just because of medical support. And it's such a torture to themselves and to everybody. You should see the way in some of the homes they're being treated. Not because of anything, the people who work there after some time they get irritated because these dead bodies walking around. They don't understand anything, they've forgotten everything, they're like lost all their senses because they've lived beyond their time. If there was no too much medical input, they would have gracefully died at a certain point, isn't it? There is no sense in stretching it to one more month, one more month, one more month, it doesn't make any sense. But life is not understood that way, we are thinking of always stretching it. So if somebody's body is broken beyond redemption, let's learn to die gracefully. Let us make the person understand, it's okay, it's all right. We're all in the queue, aren't we? So you're ahead of me, isn't that great? In any queue you want to be ahead of everybody, isn't it? So I'm not trying to make fun of somebody's illness, but we should understand where one thing stops and the other thing begins, isn't it?
See, probably in this part of the world, if I utter the word prayer, immediately people will think sitting down and saying something to somebody up there. Some of you may know simple English prayers, some of you may know complicated Latin, Arabic, Sanskrit, whatever kind of prayers. But essentially, prayer unfortunately has been understood as a way, like it's some kind of a long-distance call. Prayer is not an act, it's a certain quality that you bring into your life. In somewhere in 1860s, certain missionaries came to central part of India, which is now called as Madhya Pradesh, and they were scouting the tribal districts because that is where the potential conversions are there. Then they heard there is a particular yogi around whom thousands of people are gathering. So they thought he's built some kind of a church and people are gathering, let's go and see. Competition. So they went there. When they went there, they couldn't believe this. There was no church, there was not even a home. The yogi was just sitting under a tree. All he had was a loincloth, bare-bodied. He was just sitting there. Somebody who looks like he's not worth anything. Then they got a little encouraged. Okay, there's not much of a competition. But then they found hundreds and thousands of people gathering around him. Then they were amazed, oh, what's happening here? He must be having some kind of power. So when they got an appointment with him, They asked, "What kind of prayers do you teach?" Then he looked at them and laughed, said, "Oh, you are men of cloth, you are men of prayer, aren't you? You have done much prayer obviously in your life. Today, you just see some prayer. Don't do it, just see it." They said, "How can we see prayer?" He said, "Just watch me now." And he took some vegetables and started cutting. He said, "This is my prayer, just watch it, quite carefully watch it. This is the prayer." So prayer is not just vocal. Prayer is a way of involving your whole body and getting it into a certain attitude of receptivity, of seeing. Prayer is essentially seeing that your presence here is so minuscule actually. You are just a speck of dust in this existence. Tomorrow morning, woof, if you disappear, nobody is going to miss you. A few people around you will cry for 3 days and then they'll forget about you. Rest of the existence will just go on fine without you, isn't it? All of us disappear. Still this world will go on wonderfully well, maybe better. Yes or no? This self-assumed importance that man has created within himself, when you keep it aside, you are in prayer. If you manage to keep aside the assumed importance that you have for yourself, then you are in prayer. You don't have to say anything.
The way you begin your day shapes everything that follows. Here are 10 powerful quotes from Sadhguru to ignite your morning with clarity, strength, and purpose. Do not wait for miracles to happen. The greatest miracle in life is life itself. Embrace the gift of life every morning. When you see life itself as a miracle, everything else falls into place. If you want to become empowered, you must choose joy over suffering, happiness over misery. Every day, happiness is a choice. Choose joy no matter the circumstances, and let that be your strength. Your life is just about this. Whatever you set your eyes upon, whatever you touch, you must see how to make it a little better than the way it was before. Every morning, ask yourself, how can I make today better? Every small effort creates waves of positive change. Life is neither suffering nor joy. It is just what you make out of it. How you choose to experience life is up to you. Start each day by setting your mind on positivity and growth. If you want to go beyond limitations, you need to constantly break the boundaries of who you are. Push yourself. Each day is a chance to step out of your comfort zone and discover new possibilities. Whatever happens in your life, you should be able to experience it fully and intensely without resistance. Embrace every challenge. Let life flow through you without resistance, and you'll grow stronger with every step. You cannot transform yourself into something more by thinking or talking about it. Transformation happens when you consciously do something about it. Action is where transformation happens. Today, take a bold step toward the person you want to become. The only way you can be truly satisfied in life is to aspire for something more than just survival. Don't just live to survive. Aspire for greatness and take a step toward your dreams every day. If you want to become empowered, you must take responsibility for your life. Your well-being is your responsibility. Take control of your journey. Empower yourself by owning your choices and your path forward. Don't think about how to be better than someone else. Just strive to be better than you used to be. True success comes from progress within. Each day, strive to be better than yesterday, and you'll find fulfillment. Every day is an opportunity to grow, evolve, and live with purpose. Let these thoughts from Sadhguru light your path toward a meaningful life. If you found these quotes motivating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Life Quotes. Hit the bell icon for more inspiration. Thank you for watching.
Even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these 4 dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering in that direction for a certain period of time. Now he believes Shiva will do it for him and it will happen. So is Shiva going to come and build your house? No, I want you to understand, God will not lift his little finger for you. What has not happened till now on this planet can happen tomorrow. Human beings are capable of making it happen tomorrow. Everything we as human beings have created on this planet was essentially first created in our minds. All that you see, which is human work on this planet, first found expression in the mind, then it got manifested in the outside world. The wonderful things that we have done on this planet and the horrible things that we have done on this planet, both have come from the human mind. So if we are concerned as to what we create in this world, it's extremely important that first of all we learn to create the right things in our mind, how we keep our minds. If we do not have the power to keep our minds the way we want it, what we create in the world is also going to be very accidental and haphazard. So learning to create our minds the way we want is the basis of creating the world the way we want. There is a wonderful story in the yogic lore. On a certain day, a man took a walk. He went for a long walk. Accidentally, unawares, he walked into paradise. Fortunate, isn't he? He just took a walk and he landed up in paradise. After this long walk, he felt little tired. So he thought, oh, I'm tired, I wish I could rest somewhere. He looked around, there was a nice tree, underneath which there was very cushiony grass. So it was inviting. He went and put his head down there and slept. After a few hours he woke up, well rested, and he thought, oh, I'm well rested, but I'm feeling hungry, I wish I had something to eat. And he thought about all the nice things that he ever wanted to eat in his life. And instantly, all those things appeared in front of him. You need to understand, there the service is like that. Hungry people don't ask questions. Food came and he ate. Stomach became full. Then he thought, oh, my stomach is full, I wish I had something to drink. All the nice things that he ever wanted to drink, he thought about it and all of them just appeared in front of him. Drinking people also don't ask questions, so he drank. Now with a little bit of alcohol in him, you know Charles Darwin told you, all of you are monkeys, your tail fell away, that you were all monkeys and your tail fell away and then you became human. Yes, definitely the tail fell away. But the monkey, in yoga, we always refer to an unestablished mind as markata, which means a monkey. Why we are referring to the mind as a monkey is, what are the qualities of a monkey? One thing about a monkey is, it's unnecessary movement. And another thing about the monkey is, if I say you're monkeying somebody, what does it mean? Imitation. Monkey and imitation have become synonymous. So these two essential qualities of a monkey are very much the qualities of an unestablished mind. Unnecessary movement, you don't have to learn it from the monkey, you can teach it to the monkey. And imitation is full-time job of the mind. So when these two qualities are on, a mind is referred to as a monkey. So this monkey became active within him. He just looked around, thought, what the hell is happening here? I asked for food, food came. I asked for drink, drink came. There must be ghosts around here. And ghosts came. Oh, the ghosts have come, they're going to surround me and torture me, he thought. Immediately the ghosts surrounded him and started torturing him. Then he started screaming in pain and said, oh, they're going to kill me. And he died. Just now he said he's a fortunate being. The problem is he was sitting under a kalpa vriksha or a wishing tree. He asked for food, food came. He asked for drink, drink came. He asked for ghosts, ghosts came. He asked for torture, torture came. He asked for death, death happened. Now don't go looking for these kalpa vrikshas in the forest. You can barely find a tree these days. A well-established mind, a mind which is in a state of samyukti, is referred to as a kalpa vriksha. If you organize your mind to a certain level of organization, it in turn organizes the whole system. Your body, your emotion, your energies, everything gets organized in that direction. Once all these four dimensions of you, your physical body, your mind, your emotion and the fundamental life energies are organized in one direction, once you're like this, anything that you wish happens without even lifting a little finger actually. It would help to assist it with activity, but even without doing any activity, you can still manifest what you want if you organize these four dimensions in one direction and keep it unwavering in that direction for a certain period of time. Right now the problem with your mind is, every moment it is changing its direction. It is like you want to travel somewhere and every 2 steps if you keep changing your direction, the question of you reaching the destination is very remote unless it happens by chance. So, organizing our minds and in turn organizing the whole system and these 4 basic dimensions of who you are right now in one direction, if you do this, you are a kalpavruksha yourself. Anything that you wish will happen. But right now, if you look at your lives, everything that you have wished for till now, if it happens, you have finished. Everything and everybody that you have desired for, if all of that lands up in your house today, could you live with that? Once we're empowered like this, it's very important that our physical action, emotional action, mental action and energy actions are controlled and properly directed. If it is not so, we become destructive, self-destructive. Right now, that is our problem. The technology, which is supposed to make our life beautiful and easy, has become the source of all the problem that we are destroying the very basis of our life, which is the planet. So what should have been a boon, we are making a curse out of it. What has brought incredible levels of comfort and convenience to us in the last 100 years or so has also become a threat to our life simply because we are not conscious action, we are in a compulsive state of action. So organizing our minds fundamentally means moving from a compulsive state of activity to a conscious state of activity. You might have heard of people for whom they asked for something and beyond all expectations it came true for them. Generally this happens to people who are in faith. Now, let's say you want to build a house. If you start thinking, oh, I want to build a house, to build a house I need 50 lakhs, but I have only 50 rupees in my pocket, not possible, not possible, not possible. The moment you say not possible, you are also saying, I don't want it. So on one level, you're creating a desire that you want something, on another level, you're saying, I don't want it. So in this conflict, it may not happen. Someone who has some faith in a god or in a temple or whatever, who is simple-minded. Faith works only for those people who are simple-minded. Thinking people who are too much thinking, for them it never works. A childlike person who has a simple faith in his god or his temple or whatever, he goes to the temple and says, Shiva, I want a house. I don't know how, you must make it for me. Now in his mind there are no negative thoughts. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Is it possible? Is it not possible? These things are completely removed by this simple act of faith. Now he believes Shiva will do it for him and it will happen. So is Shiva going to come and build your house? No, I want you to understand, God will not lift his little finger for you. What you refer to as God is the source of creation. As a creator, he has done a phenomenal job, there's no question about it. Could you think of a better creation than this? Is it in anybody's imagination to think anything better than what is there right now? So as a creator, he has done his job wonderfully well. But if you want life to happen the way you want it, because right now, the very crux of your happiness and your well-being is this. If at all if you're unhappy, the only and only reason why you're unhappy is life is not happening the way you think it should happen. That's all it is. So if life is not happening the way you think it should happen, you're unhappy. If life happens the way you think it should happen, you are happy. It's as simple as that. So if life has to happen the way you think it should happen, first of all, how you think, with how much focus you think, how much stability is there in your thought, and how much reverberance is there in the thought process will determine whether your thought will become a reality or is it just an empty thought. Or how you do not create any impediments for your thought by creating negative thought process. This possible, is something possible or not possible, is destroying humanity. What is possible and not possible is not your business, it's nature's business. Your business is just to strive for what you want. Right now you're sitting here, if I ask you two simple questions, I want you to just look at this and answer this. Right now from where you're sitting, can you just fly off? You say no. Right now from where you're sitting, can you get up and walk? You'll say yes. What is the basis of this? Why you say no to flying and yes to walking? Because past experience of life, many times you've gotten up and walked, never did you fly off. Or in other words, you're using the past experience of life as a basis for deciding whether something is possible or not possible. Or in other words, you have decided that what has not happened till now cannot happen in your life in future. This is a disgrace to humanity and the human spirit. What has not happened till now on this planet can happen tomorrow. Human beings are capable of making it happen tomorrow. So what is possible and what is not possible is not your business. That is nature's business. Nature will decide that. You just see what… If it happens in our emotion, we call this love and compassion. If it happens in our energy, we call this blissfulness and ecstasy. This is all that a human being is looking for. Whether he is going to his office to work, he wants to make money, build a career, build a family, he sits in the bar, sits in the temple, he is still looking for the same thing. Pleasantness within, pleasantness around. If this is what we want to create, I think it's time we address and commit ourselves to creating it. So you want to create yourself as a peaceful human being, joyful human being, loving human being, a pleasant human being on all levels. And do you also want a world like this? A peaceful world, a loving world, a joyful world? No, I want greenery, I want food. When we say a joyful world, that means everything that you want has happened. So this is all that you're looking for. So all that you need to do is commit yourself to creating it, to create a peaceful, joyful and loving world, both for yourself and everybody around you. Every day in the morning, if you start your day with this simple thought in your mind, that today, wherever I go, I will create a peaceful, loving and joyful world. If you fall down 100 times in a day, what does it matter? For a committed man, there is no such thing as failure. If you fall down 100 times, 100 lessons to be learnt. If you commit yourself like this to creating what you really care for, now your mind gets organized. Once your mind gets organized, the way you think is the way you feel, your emotion will get organized. Once your thought and emotion is organized, your energies will get organized in the same direction. Once your thought, emotion and energies are organized, your very body will get organized. Once all these four are organized in one direction, your ability to create and manifest what you want is phenomenal. You are the creator in many ways. That which is the source of creation is functioning within you every moment of your life. It is just that, have you kept access to that dimension or not? Organizing the four basic elements of your life will give you that access. There are tools and technologies to do this. The whole science of yoga, the whole technology that we refer to as yoga is just to become a creator. It is my wish and my blessing that every human being in this world should have this access to the source of creation within himself so that he can function here as a creator, not just as a piece of creation.
Sadhguru, can you share something on how to build goodwill and manage perceptions?
So how to build goodwill? I was doing a program for one of the top, really one of the largest multinational company in the world. Top 25 executives, it's a two-day event. I had 9 volunteers with me. Isha Foundation is a completely volunteer-run organization. And these 9 volunteers were managing everything for the program, and on the second day, one of these executives asked me, Sadhguru, where do you get such people? Because they're always looking for attrition, Where do you get such people? I said, you don't get them, you got to make them. How do you make them? I said, you have to make them fall in love with you. Oh, how do we do that? I said, first you must fall in love with them. Then they say, oh, they don't pay us for that. So that's all it is. So, you cannot build goodwill. You have to exude goodwill. If you offer it to everybody, then it comes back to you in many ways. But you don't worry whether it comes back to you or not. This should be your way of living. This should be a way of being, that you naturally include everybody in everything that you are. Some will respond, some will not respond, and it's fine, it's their choice. But as far as you're concerned, there's no choice. You have fallen in love with everybody. For them, they can choose still, but after some time, they'll lose their choice. They'll have no choice. If you continue to be like this, you will see after some time they have no choice at all. Initially they act like they have a choice, but after a while they'll have no choice. So don't try to build goodwill. See, when I say fall in love with something, all I'm saying is, what you refer to as love is just a certain pleasantness of your emotion. Emotion is a very powerful thing. Though people talk all intellectual nonsense, still world is driven by human emotion. Yes? Isn't it so? Who gets elected is still driven by emotion, isn't it? Who is popular in the country or in the world is still driven by emotion, isn't it?
People that you have never set your eyes upon, they're the people you're in love with. Please see. Yes? You see an Amitabh Bachchan or a Tendulkar or a Brad Pitt or somebody, or maybe Angelina Jolie, I'm sorry, I'm leaving it. You are in love with people that you have never seen, because that is the nature of your emotion. So emotion is a powerful tool. So if you can manage a steady sweetness of your emotion, you are in love with everything around you. If you're like this, people can't help it. They'll fall. This is not a trick. This is a way of being. This is an intelligent way to exist. Because whether they fall in love with you or not, your life is very pleasant and sweet. Whether somebody loves you or not doesn't make a difference. It is just that you are loving that makes your life very pleasant. So goodwill, there is no trick to build goodwill. That is called cunning, you know. There is no trick, you just be like this. Those who respond will respond, those who don't. What is the problem?
सोनम, पता है खाने के बाद बेबी स्किन से मॉइस्चर गायब हो जाता है।
मिस्टर इंडिया है क्या?
हम पहले दिन से जॉनसन्स बेबी सोप यूज करते हैं, जो स्किन को रखे क्लीन, मॉइस्चराइज्ड एंड सुपर सॉफ्ट।
क्यों है ना नानू बुद्धू? जॉनसन्स बेबी प्रोटेक्शन पहले दिन से।
And when it goes beyond a certain point, that you get totally possessed by your own thought. Almost 90% of the human suffering is in just this. It's my wish and my blessing that you must get out of the prison of your own mind and know the beauty of creation. Lethargy comes from overconsumption of either food or thought. One may think how overconsumption of thought would bring lethargy, though everyone can understand overconsumption of food definitely brings lethargy. Well, if you become consumed by thought, you will see you would not like to move out of your bed. I did not talk about thinking, I'm talking about overconsumption of thought. That means thought is continuously flowing without your effort, without your focus, without your intent. Once it becomes like this, you will see naturally you feel like avoiding physical activity. And when it goes beyond a certain point, that you get totally possessed by your own thought. Well, there are ugly names to describe that in medical terms. It's important. There is a certain amount of moderation in consumption of food and endless amount of thought that could happen. Thinking consciously and just consuming or living upon thought or being consumed by thought are very different things. That is an unfortunate reality that for a whole lot of people, this distinction is not apparent. And the price that humanity is paying for that is not a fair price. The conclusions that you make in your mind
will seriously impede your ability to experience life. The stronger your conclusions are, the more you get identified with it, the more the psychological reality that you have seems like existential. Almost 90% of the human suffering is in just this. You misunderstand your psychological drama to be real. It's your drama. You can play it whichever way you want. If you're a good director of drama, you would make it the way you want it. Otherwise, it's happening haphazardly. Well, this is the reality of existence. How beautiful it is, but most people choose to live in their mind because they have made strong conclusions and it's no more a choice as to where they live. It's time you live on this planet, experience the beauty of creation and also the presence of the Creator in this creation. Just pay enough attention to every aspect of creation and you will see the presence of the source of creation in it. This is what you need to experience. The psychological drama is your making. It is too puny compared to the existential drama that's happening here. It's time you enjoy this. It's my wish and my blessing that you must get out of the prison of your own mind and know the beauty of creation. The most fundamental aspect that you need to take care of is that you don't make conclusions. If you do not make conclusions, the doors of your mind will not close. If you apply only your intellect, ignoring other aspects of your intelligence, you will get confused about every little thing in life because intellect is a cutting instrument. It's like a knife. If you want to dissect, it's a good instrument. But if you try to sew with a knife, you will be left in tatters. Well, that is what most human beings are experiencing right now, that they are using a cutting instrument to stitch, to put things together. Well, the more effort that you make, the more into bits and pieces human beings will become within themselves. There was a time they divided the world, then they divided more and more. You have seen this, there was a time people could live together. There were families in India where there were 400, 600 people in one family living in one house. Then slowly it became just parents and children and grandchildren. Now grandparents became a little bit of a problem, so we send them elsewhere. Now children become a problem, we send them elsewhere. And slowly husband and wife are living in separate houses, meeting on weekends. Not just that, within yourself you split yourself into many people by cutting yourself into pieces, because this is the process of dissection. If you use only your intellect for every dimension of life, this is where you will get. One day you will get schizophrenic, yes. So it's important, the other dimensions of intelligence come alive within you. Without those dimensions of intelligence being alive, your heart wouldn't beat, your liver wouldn't function, your kidney wouldn't function, all this wouldn't happen. This is not done by your intellect. So there are dimensions of intelligence within you which must be explored and brought alive into your conscious nature.
నేను పల్లీలు అమ్ముకుంటాను, మా తెలివిని కాదు. ఈ మెసేజ్ చూడండి. లాటరీ తగిలిందని చెప్తున్నారు, లింక్ క్లిక్ చేసి యూపీఐ పిన్ పెట్టండి, డబ్బులు వస్తాయంటున్నారు. అరే నాకు తెలీదా ఏంటి? ఇక్కడ యూపీఐ పిన్ పెట్టగానే అక్కడ డబ్బులు మాయం. పల్లీలు అమ్ముకునేవాణ్ణి తెలివి తక్కువని గాను. గుర్తుంచుకోండి, యూపీఐ చెబుతుంది ఎవరైనా ఆశ చూపిస్తే చెప్పండి నేను తెలివి తక్కువని కాను.
Anyway, show me the ring. Of course, triangle. Never date a mathematician. पहले x के पीछे पड़ा था. His x? Algebra वाला. Find the value of x. और अब ये देख. ये wedding invite है कि geometry paper.
ये प्रॉब्लम तो मैं भी सॉल्व कर सकती हूँ. Send an invite to collaborate.
Collaborate easily to create invites, cards, and more.
Problem solved.
OMG, you're a genius.
I know.
Canva, दिल से डिजाइन तक.
Our idea of human significance has to change. We are just another life form on the planet. Well, here you see Velingiri Mountains. Incredible amount of life. Plant, insect, worm, animal life. Endless number of lives. If you just look into the soil, there are trillions of species of life. They're all very foundational to our existence. We have been given certain privileges because in many ways we are the flower of evolution on this planet. But the flower should be fragrant and beautiful. This is very important. If we do not understand our place, that is, if something is pushed up to the top, if it doesn't maintain a sense of balance, of course it'll fall. So, our sense of what is the context of our existence here, who we are as human beings, how much time and space we occupy in this universe is something that must be in our consciousness on a daily basis for human beings to behave sensibly, for human beings to behave in such a way that every other life can thrive, including our own. This is most important. If we lose this context and have an exaggerated sense of significance for human life, then we will drive ourselves towards disaster. Agriculture can thrive only in rich soil. There is simply no other way. Regeneration of soil is invigoration of life. Unfortunately, we have short-term ideas that we think by throwing salts, by doing tricks, we can grow food. There is simply no other way. We have to regenerate the soil. Only then there is invigoration of life. Without rich soil, agriculture is a disaster. Every responsible scientist in the world is clearly pointing out that in another 20 years, there will be severe food shortages in the world. This could affect millions of lives and could lead to civil war situations in many countries due to food shortages. Even in the coming year, in the next 6 to 8 months, it is predicted large-scale famines will unfold in many African nations. And it will be silly to think only Africa suffers famines, only Africa suffers food shortages. It could come everywhere.
Look at the number of suicides in India, the former suicides. You can give so many reasons, but tell me please that if the soil is really rich, will any farmer commit suicide? If the soil is rich enough to even grow food for his own family, will anyone commit suicide? Will anyone migrate, leaving their traditional lands to unknown places if the soil is rich? This is something that has to be done, regenerating the world's soil. This is necessary for our survival. This is a fundamental responsibility that we have for future generations. Rich soil is rich life. Regeneration is invigoration of life.
People have learned to use energies to cause harm to someone else. This will be the worst karma. You never misuse this. Some of you think you will do a great thing by healing somebody. If every moment of your life you have solved the karmic puzzle 90%, remaining 10%, I'm there. Karma means action. There are 4 types of action: physical, mental, emotional and energy. Of all these things, the energy action is the most important one and the most enduring one and the most liberating one if you do it the right way. If you do it the wrong way, the energy action, which is improper, can have far more impact upon one's life than the improper physical actions, improper mental actions, improper emotional actions. So what do I mean by improper energy actions? One thing is, unfortunately, I had to witness a few things which I did not wish to witness. Certain people trying to misuse a little flexibility in energy that came with certain practice of yoga or a certain initiation especially. There are some over-smart people that when you initiate them, when it's fresh, when they're bursting with energy, they want to use it for something else. They want to channelize it to impress their neighbors or to make some money out of it or in some way use it. What was offered to them for their well-being, they try to do something else, that can happen. Or a better example would be, see, there are many ways you can perform negative action. One thing is, let's say you sat here and thought that somebody that you don't like must die, or you even thought how to kill them. It has a certain level of impact on you. On another level, you had a thought, but not just a thought, the strong emotion. Now it has a much deeper impact upon you. You acted upon this thought and emotion and you actually performed the action, then it has a much deeper impact on you. Now, you understand that if you perform these actions, there may be consequences, so you found another way. You found somebody who will do certain type of energy action through which the person that you don't like will die. There is an entire science like this. One Veda among the 4 Vedas is dedicated to this is called as Atharvana Veda, where it's about learning to use energies towards your benefit and other people's detriment. You've heard of words like black magic, voodoo and Billy Shunyam and whatever else you call it. where people have learned to use energies to cause harm to someone else. Once you energetically try to influence somebody for some benefit of your own, now this will be the worst karma because the impact of this goes very deep into you because you're employing your energies to do this. This is the reason why even to initiate you into a simple process like Shambhavi, I am asking you to take this step of being a mother to the world so that you never misuse this, you see everybody as yours. Because enhancement of energies has to come with a profound sense of responsibility. Enhancement of energies has to happen with deeper dimension of inclusiveness. Without inclusiveness, if you use energy, this will be the worst karma. So, those of you who find some dramatic changes happening in your life because of initiations, you must take care. You must take utmost care that you never try to use this ability to transform to do something else. Of course, some of you think you will do a great thing by healing somebody, by intervening in somebody's life in some other way. No, this will be the worst type of karma you perform because once you try to use your energies and still you are capable of anger, you are capable of drawing boundaries of what is you and what is not you, what is yours and what is not yours, when these things are still there, you should never ever try to do anything energetically because this will be the most impactful karma that you will do. This is the reason why even the basic practice of Shambhavi, to initiate you, you must become a mother to the world. And this is also a fantastic way to beat your karma. If every moment of your life, if you live with an inclusive emotion of being a mother to the world, not discriminating between what is yours and what is not yours. Right now you cannot help discriminating what is you and what is not you, but at least what is yours and what is not yours, if you take it away, you have solved the karmic puzzle 90%, believe me, 90%. Of all dimensions of karma, you have solved that puzzle. Remaining 10%, I am there.
Hey everyone! We're thrilled to announce that Life and Quotes has reached 50 subscribers. But this is just the beginning. Our next big goal? Reaching 1,000 subscribers by October 10th, 2024. If our content has inspired you, now's the time to hit that subscribe button. Let's grow this amazing community together. Your support means everything. Like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Together, we can make it happen.
Who you are is entirely your making, so at least the way you are should be to your liking. Well, if you can't make yourself as beautiful as this mountain, this Jackson Lake and Mount Moron and this grand Teton Park, if you can't make yourself that grand, at least you must make yourself to your liking. If you're not even to your liking, why should the rest of the world suffer you? This one thing you must do, this is a fundamental responsibility, and this is something that you deserve, that you must be to your liking. That means, at least when you're alone, you are well. When we deal with the world, there are many challenges, but at least when you're alone, you must be a wonderful happening. This is something you must do. This is what spiritual process means, that you made yourself to your own liking. Well, some people will like you, some people will not like you, but if you're not to your liking, then what is the point? This is what karma means, that your life is your making. Make it happen.
that your life is pleasant in experience to yourself. Once that happens, you will see in some way you will be to everybody's liking. There'll always be some people who dislike everything. It's all right, it's their freedom to do that. But the most important thing is that you're happening the way you want yourself to be. Let's make it happen. In engineering, I'm telling you, you must engineer yourself the way you want. Otherwise, what's the point of living here?
In general, sciences are understood only as physical sciences, which is a very gross way to live. See, the physical science has no answer for life. Physical science and technology can only bring comfort and convenience to your life, cannot solve your life situations. Western societies are enough proof of this, isn't it so? Yes? They do not solve any problem of humanity. They bring much more comfort and convenience to our life. Definitely, because of science and technology, we are the most comfortable generation ever on this planet, isn't it so? So when we say sciences, let's understand sciences are also of esoteric nature. Sciences are not just physical, but today, only physical sciences are being promoted as science. About or other dimensions of sciences are they coming back. My whole work has been just to strive for this. We are bringing this inner science into people's lives. It's made sufficient impact, but not enough, because the problem that exists in the world is too big. It needs much more work to make it happen. It has definitely done something. The sciences have been brought back, at least in some minimal way, to common people as they understand it. Even in rural villages in Tamil Nadu, we have done this in about 1350 villages right now. And you see there is a change in the way they're looking at their life. They're making some effort to change their living conditions, which they thought is God ordained. All these years they believed, this is God's will, this is how we are. Now they're making some effort to change, which is the only way life can change. There's no overnight solution. If we work at it, if our whole life if we work at it, if we leave 10% change, it's a tremendous thing. Because social realities cannot be changed like this. People have tried to change it with violent methods. All you will do is you will replace one tyrant with many. That's all that'll happen in the name of revolutions. So, right now we have set forth a revolution, we call this silent revolution of self-realization. Is there a banner? No? Whenever we talk about revolution, most of the time, people are talking about changing somebody, isn't it? All the time, rather. See, you wanting somebody else to change is not a revolution, this is an age-old problem. Mother-in-law wants the daughter-in-law to change, daughter-in-law wants the mother-in-law to change. Isn't this an age-old problem? Is there a revolution in it? What is revolutionary about it? You want somebody else to change, there is no revolution about it. I am willing to change, this is a revolution. This will bring about genuine change in the world, that I am willing to change my ways to make things happen. This will bring about the change. So this is the silent revolution, and it's a science.
if we want to live well, both externally and internally, how well we live here simply depends on how well we manage our surroundings and how well we manage ourselves. Fundamentally, life is management. If you don't know how to maintain your body, your mind, your emotion, your situations, your life in general, your home, your communities, nations and the world, the quality of our life is just how well we manage things with ourselves. But generally, we are thinking of management, we are applying it only in terms of business management or industry management, or generally we are talking management only with economic situations, not life as a whole. In many ways, it's unfortunate. Today, the most predominant factor that rules the planet has become economics. The other aspects of life have been totally pushed to the corner. When economics rules, when economics is the only thing that we are thinking about, we will tend to become very gross and unhappy in so many ways. What I see is, we are conducting various levels of programs to very top-level executives in some big corporations in the world, major corporations in the world. What I see is people who have failed in their lives, they're suffering their failure. People who have succeeded in their life, they're suffering their success. If you suffer your failure, it's okay, because failure comes easy. If you suffer your success, that is tragedy, because success doesn't come easy. So, something that you worked for, something that you always longed for, something that you wanted to create in your life, when it happens, if you start suffering that, that's real tragedy of life. But a large number of successful people on the planet are suffering their success. When I say suffering their success, if you look at people, look at yourself and see, you're still young people, most of you. When you're 5 years of age, how happy you were, and today, how happy you are. If we make a chart out of it, a graph out of it, is it moving upward or downward? In 24 hours' time, how many moments are you really happy? If you look at this, is it going up or down? Is it going up or down? Down. So that means you're a bad manager. Because after all, everything that you did in your life is in pursuit of happiness, isn't it? All that you're doing in your life, you're doing it because you believe that is your happiness. You pursue careers, you build families, you run after your ambitions, so many things you do because somewhere you believe fulfilling those things will bring you happiness. After doing all that, if happiness is not multiplying, it is going down, that means you are a bad manager of yourself. Anybody who does not know how to manage his own body, his own mind, his own emotion and his energies, if he is managing outside situations, he is only managing them by accident, not by intent, the way he wants it. Because if you do not know how to manage your mind, how to manage your energies, how to manage your interiority, managing the outside is bound to be accidental. When you manage situations by accident, you exist as an accident. When you exist as an accident, you are a potential calamity. When you exist as a potential calamity, being anxious all the time becomes a natural part of life.
Anywhere you go today, people are talking stress management. Especially a few years ago when I first went to United States, wherever I go, people were talking stress management. I could not understand why anybody wants to manage his stress. I can understand you want to manage your business, your finance, your family, your property, whatever, but why would you want to manage stress? It took me a while to understand these people have come to the conclusion that there is no other way to live. Somehow people have come to the conclusion that if you do things in the world, you're bound to be stressful. One is not stressful because of what they're doing. One is stressful because he's a bad manager of himself. He doesn't know how to manage his own systems. That is why he's stressful. It is not the nature of the job which makes one stressful. You ask a chaparasi, he is also stressful. You ask the top executive, he is also stressful. Everybody believes their job is stressful. No job is stressful. If you have no control over your own systems, you will be stressful, whether you do something or you don't do anything, isn't it so? See, management means… fundamentally, management means we want to decide the course of our destiny. That's management, isn't it? We don't want to live here by accident. We want to take our lives where we want to go. That's management, isn't it so? If you're managing by accident, you are not a manager. Without you, things will run better. So once you say, I'm a manager, that means somewhere you have decided that you want to go in a particular way. You want to have a certain kind of situation, both inward and outward. So everybody is a manager in his own capacity, but in different levels and different types. Whether you manage a kitchen where you cook for 4 people, or you manage a large industry where 10,000 people work, fundamentally, if you want to have a good kitchen or a good industry, you must be a good manager of that situation, isn't it? So whether you're managing a little kitchen or a large industry, if you want to manage outside situations, generally you will have to manage material and people around you. If you have to manage 10 people or 10,000 people around you, you have to manage 10 minds or 10,000 minds around you. But if you have no management over your own mind, you managing 10,000 minds is going to be a disaster. In the process of doing something, if we are destroying human beings, which is happening right now, in the process of managing a situation, the man is broken, then this kind of management is no good, because after all, every management that we do is only for human well-being. If we are doing management for human well-being, in the process of doing something, in the process of managing situations, it is not only about producing something or making profit. Human beings should rise to their full potential. If we manage a situation properly, in simple process of working, you and the people who are working with you should be able to raise to their full potential. When I say rising to full potential, not just work potential, but as human beings, they must be able to rise to their full potential. If people work together, then people should be able to rise to the peak of their love, peace, compassion within themselves. If this doesn't happen, then it's bad management, because all management, the basic intent is human well-being. If that is not happening, you're just producing something, you're making little profit, but human beings are getting broken in the process, it doesn't mean anything. So if this kind of management has to happen, that just in managing a business, you find people around you raise to their peak, then you have to spend a certain amount of time in focusing on your inner management. If this doesn't happen, you will only manage situations by accident. A lot of people have understood management as a way of throwing their weight around. Can I tell you a joke? Are you okay? On a certain day,
A lion was really feeling great within himself. He just was walking and a little rabbit was going, he caught him and roared at him, "Who is the king of the jungle?" The little rabbit, terrified, said, You, of course you." He let him go, swaggered around a little bit. Then he found a fox, caught him, "Who is the king of the jungle?" "Oh my lord, it's you, of course, nobody else but you." Then he swaggered around a little bit, caught a few more animals, everybody screamed out of fear, "You are the king of the jungle." Then he was in full swagger, like a manager. King of the jungle Walked into a clearing in the jungle, there was a huge tusker standing. He went, stood in front of him and asked, "Who is the king of the jungle?" The tusker took his trunk, rolled him up, picked him up, twirled him around, smashed him to the ground. His back broke. Then the lion said, "You could have just told me." But the tusker said, "You see, I had to make my point." So, lot of people generally are thinking management means just throwing their weight around. Throwing your weight around is not management, any fool can do that. If you manage a situation, not just things happening there, people should feel elevated, just being in that space. Otherwise, it is not management. Above all, if you go to a place and you manage a situation, you must feel wonderful being there. If that doesn't happen, you are not a good manager. So if this has to happen, you need an inner dimension. When I say inner dimension, what is inner dimension? When I say inner, I'm not just talking about the body or the mind, because both this body and mind you gathered from outside in certain ways, isn't it? For example, this physical body, when you were a child, this body was only this much. Now it's become this much. How did this happen? How did this happen? That's a question. How did this happen? You grew up, how did it happen, I'm asking? I'm sorry? How did it happen? How did all this body happen? Food that you ate, isn't it? What you call as my body is actually a heap of food that you gathered. What you call as food is just a piece of earth that you convert it into food and make it into body, isn't it? So this body is just a heap of food that you gathered over a period of time. What you call as my mind is a heap of impressions that you gathered from outside. Now you have a heap of food and a heap of impressions. If this much gathering has to happen, something more than this must exist, isn't it? If you are capable of gathering such a large body and so much mind, there must be something more fundamental than this. But that never comes into your experience. You're just lost in these two heaps, trying to make some sense out of it. Now, as there is a science, as there is a management science for external well-being, there is a management for science for inner well-being. It is just that most of the time we have not approached it scientifically, we're just believing by doing something somehow everything will be okay. Right now, people are thinking by educating themselves they will live happily ever after, which you will discover after some time it's not so. By getting a job, they think they're going to be happy ever after, which you will discover it is not so. By making money, you think you're going to be happy ever after, you will discover it is not so. Somebody thinks by getting married they're going to be ever after, and they know it is not so. So, you're trying to somehow fool yourself into believing that by doing something, everything will be okay. Though repeatedly it has let you down, still you believe that something else, some other miracle will make everything okay. It'll not be okay. It once happened. On a certain day, a bull and a pheasant were grazing on the field. You know a bull? A pheasant, a bird. The bull was grazing on the grass, the pheasant was picking ticks off the bull, they're partners, you know. Then the pheasant looked at a huge tree which was at the edge of the field and very nostalgically said, "Alas, there was a time when I could fly to the topmost branch of the tree, but today I do not have the strength even to fly to the first branch of the tree." The bull very nonchalantly said, "That's no problem. Eat a little bit of my dung every day. You will see, within a fortnight's time you will reach the top of the tree." The pheasant said, "Oh, come off it. How is that possible?" The bull said, "Really, please try and see. The whole humanity is on it. You could try too." Very hesitantly, the pheasant started pecking at the dung, and lo, on the very first day it reached the first branch of the tree. In a fortnight's time, it reached the topmost branch of the tree. It just went and sat on the topmost branch and just looking at the scenery, enjoying it. The old farmer saw a fat old pheasant on the top of the tree. He took out his shotgun and shot him off the tree. So the moral of the story is, even bullshit can get you to the top, but never lets you stay there. So, if you're seeking a life of fulfillment, if you're seeking a life of joy and peace and well-being within yourself, don't try to bull yourself in some way. You must do the right thing, otherwise it won't work. Now that you're managers or to be managers, probably, definitely, I hope they have taught you that unless you do the right thing, it doesn't work with outside. The same goes with the inside. Unless you do the right thing, it just doesn't work. You may just bull yourself to believe that this will make me all right, that will make me all right. Yes, for a moment, but the next moment you crash. Please see, successful people, unsuccessful people, just look at their lives and see in 24 hours, how many moments are they really joyful? How many? You go on the street and see how many joyful faces do you see on the street? Very, very few, isn't it so? Yes? If you see any, usually they are young faces. Over 30 faces are all long faces. What's happened to them? For most of them, their lives have worked out far better than they ever imagined. If you look at yourself as a generation, never before another generation of people have been this comfortable and this well physically as you are right now, isn't it? Isn't it so? We are the most comfortable generation. No other generation has known these kind of comforts and conveniences. But still, are we any happier than what people were? This is simply because we did not do inner management. We just did external management, no inner management. In the process of creating what we want, the very source of our life, this planet, we're just destroying, isn't it? In pursuit of our happiness, we are just making a bonfire out of this planet, but still we are not satisfied, nor are we any more joyful than what we were 500 years ago as people were, isn't it? So somewhere we have neglected the interiority. So to turn inward, what is needed? One reason why most young people here have never made any effort to turn inward is because today, any thinking person, the moment he can read ABC, speak English, and he has extra alphabets next to his name, he develops an allergy towards anything spiritual. This is not your fault. These so-called spiritual people have made such jokers out of themselves. They have presented spirituality in such terrible ways, ridiculous ways, that anybody who has any sense doesn't want to go anywhere near it. See, a spirituality means to know something which is beyond the physical. Right now, if you exist as a physical entity, as a body, as a mind, because both these things are accumulations from outside, whatever happens outside will happen inside. If what happens outside begins to happen within you all the time, then you being peaceful and happy is always accidental, because it doesn't matter who you are, how powerful you are, how great a manager you are, external situations will never be 100% in your control. That's the nature of the life. Even if you're just two people in the family, still you don't have absolute control over the situation, isn't it so? As the scope and play of your life increases, you have less and less control over the situations in which you live. That's the reality of life. So if whatever is happening outside is happening within you, you being peaceful and happy in your life is a faraway thing, it's never going to happen. Only when a person begins to experience a dimension beyond the physical within himself, then he can play with the physical world whichever way he wants. He can do the best that he can do with the outside world, but the interiority is undisturbed, always the way you want it. The outside world will not happen the way we want it 100%. At least the inner world should happen the way we want it, isn't it so? Isn't it so? The outside will never happen 100% the way we want it. That's the reality of life. But at least this one should happen the way we want it. If this is also not happening the way you want it, if your body, if your mind, if your emotions, if your energies are not functioning the way you want it, then this is the worst kind of slavery, because somebody else decides what should happen within you. If somebody else decides what should happen around you, that itself you call it slavery, isn't it so? Yes? Are we in talking terms or no? Oh, that's fine. If somebody decides what should happen around you, that itself you call as slavery. But if someone decides what should happen within you, is it not a more horrible way of being a slave? But please see, the whole world is in it. The only consolation is everybody is like this. Now that you're learning management as a science, I would like you to understand there is a whole science of inner management. If you don't learn that, you may manage businesses, you may manage industry, but still you will not live a life of fulfillment and well-being. If you want to live a life of fulfillment and well-being and offer the same to people around you, it's extremely important you know what it means to manage your interiority. I really don't know how you feel today going out of in the university. I did not go to my… Are you okay for a story? Right from my childhood, the education that I received, though they sent me to the best possible schools around, it didn't mean anything to me, because my sense of listening and looking at people was such. When the teachers were talking whatever, chemistry, biology or mathematics, one thing I could clearly see was whatever they were saying didn't mean a damn thing to them. And I was not willing to listen to anything from somebody who is talking something which doesn't mean anything to him.
So, I always looked at the teacher. If he put his heart into it, I'm willing to be there, otherwise I'm out. Because somewhere I have so many things on my agenda for the day. 24 hours are packed with too many things. I'm not willing to spend an hour or even 5 minutes listening to someone who is talking something which doesn't mean anything to him. Even if he's talking nonsense, it doesn't matter. If it means something to him, I'm willing to listen to it. But if he's talking great things which don't mean anything to him, I'm not willing to listen to him. So as a part of this, I spent… Your education is over, so I can talk. I spent almost 90% of my college hours outside, only 10% inside. Only when I saw somebody who is talking something with passion, I'm there. Otherwise, I'm just out. Now, this education, I'm repeatedly telling Dr. Majumdar and a few other people around here, I'm happy to see somebody's talking with some passion about what they're doing. Somebody, it doesn't matter what they're doing is right, wrong, okay, perfect or not. But someone has put his heart into it, it's okay, because human lives becomes beautiful not because we do the right things. Human lives become beautiful because we put our heart into what we're doing. It doesn't matter what we're doing, whether we're sweeping the floor or managing the country or what we're doing, if we are putting our heart into what we're doing, it's beautiful to be doing that activity. So I think it's a fortune that I've just seen a few people, I hope everybody here is putting their hearts into what they're doing and living in an atmosphere where people are passionate about what they're doing itself is highly enriching. Now that you're stepping into the world, not that you don't know, but anyway, now you're stepping into the world in a different dimension than the way you have been till now. Once you step into the world, there's going to be a lot of filth. There is corruption, there is nonsense, there is so many things happening everywhere. There are some set of people, a certain set of people, who will develop an allergy for this filth. They can't stand it. They usually run to the Himalayas because they're allergic to filth, they can't take it. They want everything pure. But such a thing will not happen because the filth of the world has one way or the other has entered our minds. Whether we empower that filth or not is all the option that we have. But we cannot avoid filth, it is there. All the nonsense that can happen in the world, you know in your head, isn't it? So one set of people develop allergy and try to run away, which they can never do, really. Another set of people, a large segment of people, unfortunately, have come to their own kind of philosophies. Anyway, world is full of filth, let me also become filth. So they have joined that, they have merged into the filth. What we call as filth can also be great manure, He has always used lotus as a symbolism. A lotus flower has always been the main symbolism for Indian spirituality. Why a lotus flower is? A lotus flower grows best where the filth is thick. This filth which is stinking, which you can't bear, has transformed itself into a fragrant, beautiful flower. This option also is with us every moment of our life. If the atmospheres that we live in make us… we cannot call ourselves managers. If we make the atmospheres that we live in, only then we can call ourselves managers. Being a manager means that we are going to create whatever we see as the most beautiful thing to happen right now. Allowing situations to create you is not management at all. Creating the situations that we want is management. As many of them have said many things, this process of education, there is a certain exhilaration now that education is over, you're stepping into a new dimension of life, the excitement, and it's always beautiful to step into something new that you believe is going to be wonderful. But what we have seen with life with most people is, now let's say somebody got a job, the first day when they went and sat behind this table was the most fantastic place in the world. But within a few years, behind the same table, they're manufacturing blood pressure, diabetes, ulcers and whatnot. This is not because there is something wrong with the jobs that we do. This is not because there is something wrong with the world that we live in. It is simply because we have not paid sufficient attention to ourselves. We have paid too much attention to what is outside. To succeed in the world, people are always thinking, great aspirations will make you successful. Aspiration is just an initial starting point. Just because you aspire for success, just because you aspire for prosperity, just because you aspire for well-being, it doesn't happen. Success, prosperity, well-being happens because you have made yourself capable of creating those things. Everybody aspires. Who is not aspiring for success in the world? Everybody is aspiring. Even a beggar on the street is trying to be a successful beggar, isn't it so? Every human being is aspiring for it, but only those who have made themselves capable will succeed. Making yourself capable not only in terms of management skills and other things, but that is needed too, but making yourself capable as a human being to go through situations untouched, to be like a lotus flower, even if you're in the filthiest of situations, to maintain your beauty and fragrance. If one has this, he will float through this life untouched. If one doesn't have it, life will eat him up in so many ways. It's my wish and my blessing that this new set of managers will manage this world, this country, this community, and the business and commerce, which is part of our existence today in the world, in a much better way than the previous generations of people have done. Because externally we are better equipped than ever before. If we make a little effort, it's a fortune that an institution has made an effort to equip you internally to whatever extent it was possible for them. If you equip yourself for internal management also, I'm sure that this group of people and many more who will pass out of this institution should definitely manage this world, this nation and the communities much, much better than the way it's been done till now. When it comes to management, there's no such thing as perfect management. It is just that if people give themselves absolutely to what they're doing, things will happen. Right now, the Isha Foundation, Dr. Karthikeyan, after seeing what's happening there, that's how he's been into this. It is run by all young people, the whole foundation. We have hundreds of centers in India and outside the country. Everything is managed by very young people. People who have been with us for 14, 15 years, they are just in their early 30s now. Very, very young people. No senior people, no experienced people, just young people, raw hands. I took this as a challenge to make it happen through them, not using any kind of experience. I'm not against experience, I'm not against that, but I wanted to make a statement that incredible things can be done, not because we know how to do it. Incredible things can be done simply because we are committed that we want it to happen, that's all. Today, this has grown into a voluntary organization with over 200,000 active volunteers around the world. And we have taken enormous projects of social significance. All these things are handled by volunteers. They're not paid for it, they spend from their own pockets and do things. And you need to understand, managing these people, managing volunteers is much more difficult than managing paid employees, because you can't fire them. You can never fire them for inefficiency or indiscipline or whatever, because they're there on a voluntary basis. So, people who manage these situations, very young people without any qualifications, they are such fantastic managers of people. The way they manage the situations, the way they conduct thousands of people has set such a exemplary example in the community there. I would take this opportunity someday that when it's possible you visit Isha Yoga Center as to how things are managed, so simply, because management doesn't come… I know you need to learn about finance, this, that, banking and those kind of things, but fundamentally management is your ability to be capable of inspiring people to do their best. And that's all we can do. If everybody around us are doing their best, that's the best possible management that can happen. So this is not going to come with manipulation, this is only going to come with dedication, this is only going to come with love, this is only going to come because you are willing to give yourself 100% to the person who is next to you at that moment. Oh, is all this possible? Is it not all utopian? You think this is the reality in the corporate sector? I'm telling you, we are working in the prisons, we are working in rural areas, we are working with major corporations in the world. It doesn't matter what kind of person you meet. If you just learn to touch the core of his humanity, then you see every human being is willing to do his best for you, always. If you just learn how to touch the very core of a human being who is around you right now, you will see everybody is willing to lay their lives down for you. Only if people around you love you and they want to do the best for you, you will not get ulcers doing management. If people around you are trying to pull you down, you will anyway get ulcers trying to manage situations. Isn't it so? If you do not create the people who truly love us and wanting to give their best, then management is going to be a pain. Management is going to be a huge suffering. Only when people around us really want to do the best for you, only then management can happen wonderfully. It's my wish and my blessing that all of you turn out as truly great managers of yourself and the world around you. Our lives become beautiful not because of what we do. Our lives becomes beautiful simply because we have included everybody around us as a part of our dream of well-being. I hope all of you become truly successful and well in whatever way. With inner technologies, if you need any help, we are always available to you. It's been a joy to be here in this institution. I've been to any number of colleges. People are the same, but creating an institution with some sense of commitment for inner well-being in today's world is… I'm too happy. Thank you.
See, we have a biology, we cannot put it under the carpet, it's there. It's best we address it for what it is. But right now the problem in the world is, because certain religious institutions in the world took this attitude that the very biology of the human being is wrong, because of this, culture started hiding it under the carpet. Well, in this culture, we never had it, but after the British came and left, we became more prudish than the British. But before that, if you look at our temples, all the outside temple art is all pornographic, if that's what you want to call it. But we don't call it pornographic, we are only talking about the various dimensions of human biology. Because we don't see it as wrong, but we see it as the periphery of life. If you stay there only, you will stay on the physical dimension forever, you will not explore anything else. So in the temple, always it's the periphery. You are supposed to look at that and understand it's the periphery of life and try to make an attempt to go deeper, but at the same time not to be in denial of it. Not to glorify it or not to be in denial of it is the most important thing. But in your college, watching these things on the whatever, your internet or whatever, people tell me that… somebody told me, I don't know if these percentages are correct. When I was asking, what is the content? I was trying to understand the internet and its content, what is the real content on the internet? They're telling me, you should know, they're telling me 70% of the content on the internet is pornography. Is it so? Is it so? You must be the expert. Is somebody doing PhD on it? They told me 70%. I said 70% is unreasonable and sick levels of pornography. If it occupies a small percentage, it's okay. 70% of a technological platform which could do millions of things, unfortunately is pornographic. Just biology of life, it's very because once you come as a human being, your biology is not the front end of your life. It is one part of your life. This cerebral capability came so that your intelligence becomes the front end of your life, and if you become conscious, your consciousness becomes the front end of your life. Biology is the front end of a bull. It's okay for him, that's all he knows. But biology should not be the front end of a human life, it is part of our life. We are not denying it. So, at a certain stage in your life, it's like this. A 95-year-old man went for a medical checkup with his doctor. The doctor did a thorough checkup and said, "Hey, old boy, you're doing great for 95, no problem with you." Then the old man asked, "Doctor, but what about my sex life?" Then the doctor looked at him and asked, "Thinking about it or talking about it?" So at different stages of life, there are some times you only think about it and talk about it, there are some times you indulge in it. These are passing phases of life. How much of it is needed for you, you are the best judge. But at the same time, you came here not to explore your biology. At least you should have gone to MSc in biology. You shouldn't be wasting your time in a technological institute exploring biology. Does it mean to say you don't have biology, you don't have biological needs? You have, it's fine, but it must be on the periphery. It should not become the core of your life because it will reduce you in the sense. A creature which was purely biological evolved into a place which has an intelligence of its own beyond its biology. See, animal intelligence works for its biology alone. How to get its food, how to get its mate, this is all its entire life is. If human intelligence also functions like that, you are bellying the evolutionary process. You are seeing how to go back, take the evolutionary process backward, not necessary. This does not mean you do not have a body, body has its needs, as there is physical hunger, so there is sexuality. You have to address it in some way. But to what extent is your choice, but definitely it should not be the front end of your life because you're rolling back evolutionary scheme of putting your intelligence and consciousness in the front. Instead of that, you're putting your biology in the front.
How important is a man's semen for physical, mental and spiritual well-being? Can wasting our semen damage us spiritually?
Well, you know, semen is the basis of your physical existence, whether you're a man or a woman. You have come into existence because that is 50% of the ingredient. Yes? Well, we have skin, we have epithelial cells, we have hair, we have many other aspects of body, you know, heart, liver, kidney, so many things. All these cells are of a certain potency in their own way. But semen is of an extraordinary level of potency, it can create a whole new life. Well, today you can take an epithelial cell and do a lot of things in a laboratory and maybe we can clone you, all right? So the potential is here also, but it is not in the same dynamics as it is in a cell, which you're referring to as semen. So in the yogic culture, this is called as virya. Virya also refers to what you call as vajra, which means stability, or diamond, which is the hardest thing. So in the human body, virya is considered to be like vajra. That means it is one of the most potent things if you know how to use it. Well, how to use it means you can use it to produce a child, that's one thing. Well, if you are… this question is coming because you are using it to spill it on the JNU bed sheets. Okay if that's how you're using it, well, that's your compulsion, you're doing whatever you're doing. This is not something to be judged morally, that's not the point, it's a question of what is the level of compulsion that one has. But anything in this body, can it be transformed into a different level of function? Absolutely. Not just semen, just everything in this body can be transformed. See, suppose I gave you all soup-making ingredients, same soup-making ingredients to every one of you. Do you believe all of you will produce the same soup? No, you will produce 500 varieties of soups, those same ingredients. That's all that's happened with us right now. All of us are fundamentally same ingredients, but see how different each one of us are. Different soups. Well, if I give you soup-making ingredients, either you can make a great soup or a lousy soup. Depends what kind of skills you have, isn't it? So this goes for everything, not just for semen. Every dimension of your body and your mind, you can transform into something tremendous, or you can make it mediocre, or you can make it a serious problem. Every aspect of your life. That goes for this aspect of life also. This same energy, see, people are making it literal translations, but if you want to produce a certain, let's say, epithelial cells, how much energy the body spends on it? And if you want to produce a cell which you call a semen, how much energy body spends is very different. This can be scientifically established. So, when you're investing so much energy in that, obviously it has a potency if you know how to explore. But are you competent to explore? Are you capable of exploring? Do you have the necessary sadhana and guidance to do that? That's a big question mark.
हे ईश्वरा गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ब्रह्मानन्दं परम सुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधि साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं त्वं नमामि। श्रीगुरुचरण प्रतापे पुण्यपापे जरालि त्रिभुवन समतीर्थे ज्ञान गंगे शुभाशुभ पाहता भावना श्री सद्गुरु चरण कमल ध्यानी निशिदिन गुरु राय उन्मनी छोपराय। जय जय गुरुदेव समर्थ। जय जय रघुवीर समर्थ। ओम श्री गुरुदेवाय। ओम श्री परमेश्वर। ओम श्री प्रातपर गुरुदेवाय। ओम श्री परमेष्ठि गुरुदेवाय। ओम श्री परम गुरुदेवाय। ओम श्री निर्गुण परब्रह्म परमात्मा। आज का टॉपिक है कुंडलिनी जागरण, इफेक्ट्स ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल अवेकनिंग। कुंडलिनी जागरण का हमारे ऊपर क्या प्रभाव पड़ता है, हमारे तन पे, हमारे मन पे क्या प्रभाव पड़ता है, क्योंकि इसी से सब हम लोग जुड़े हुए हैं। हम अपने डेली की जो साधना है इसी के ऊपर कर रहे हैं, कुंडलिनी को डेली जगाते हैं। आपने सुना होगी शक्तिपात किया, कुंडलिनी जागा, जगाया। तो बहुत ही सिंपल रीति से हम लोग सुबह शाम अपनी कुंडलिनी को जगाते हैं, यानी अपने अंदर जो दैवत्व है, ईश्वरीय चेतना है, उसको हम जगा रहे हैं। अपने अंदर जो शिवालय तो है, लेकिन शिवालय में जीवालय था। जीवालय से अब हम शिवालय की यात्रा पर हैं। परम तत्व परमात्मा को हम जगा रहे हैं, यानी जगा नहीं रहे, हो रहे हैं हम परमात्मा। कोई भी नदी जब सागर से मिलती है तो सागर ही बन जाती है, नदी नहीं रह जाती, वो अपनी अस्तित्व को मर्ज कर देती है। तो वैसे ही इस स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी में, आध्यात्मिक यात्रा में, ईश्वर कोई पाने की वस्तु नहीं है। हाँ, बड़ी अच्छी भजन है मराठी में, देव बाजारच्या भाजीपाला नाही रे, यानी बाजार के जो सब्जी वगैरह नहीं है, वस्तु नहीं है कि हम खरीद सके या पा सके, कोई वस्तु नहीं है, होने की चीज है। इसलिए कहते बीइंग गॉड, ईश्वरीय चरित्र हमारे अंदर आना शुरू हो जाता है। कई लोगों का प्रश्न था कि कुंडलिनी जागरण होने पर क्या होता है। हमने बोला आप ईश्वर की तरह आपका एक्टिविटीज लाइक अ गॉडली नेचर हो जाएगा। ईश्वर की तरह आपकी एक्टिविटीज होने लगेगी, ईश्वर की तरह ही। तो बोलते ईश्वर क्या है, कैसा होता है? तो इतना तो पूजा दिन रात कर रहे थे, आपने बचपन से कर रहे हो। सभी धर्मों के लोग कहीं ना कहीं अपने तरीका से करते ही हैं। कोई मंदिर जाता, कोई चर्च जाता, कोई मस्जिद जाता, कोई गुरुद्वारा जाता, कोई अपने अपने तरह से अपना अपना बना रखा है रास्ता। लेकिन ये रास्ता बहुत ही अद्भुत है जो आप साधना कर रहे हैं। इसमें कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। फिजिकली देयर इज नो सर्च। इस शरीर रूपी मंदिर में स्वयं परमात्मा ही आत्मा के रूप में है। कितना सरल है, खोजना तो है ही नहीं, जो है उसी को जगाना है, एक्सेप्ट भी नहीं करना है। एक्सेप्ट कैसे हो? गलत हम सब की गलती नहीं है, क्योंकि आत्मा को हम एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं करते हैं कि वो परमात्मा है, क्योंकि अनुभूति नहीं होती है। इसीलिए हमारे परम पूज्य गुरु जी, एक परम पूज्य परमहंस शांतानंद बाबा कहते थे, अनुभव और अनुभूति ही ब्रह्म दर्शन है। अब कैसी अनुभव? तो धीरे धीरे हमारा नेचर चेंज होने शुरू हो जाता है, हमारा आयना का एक्टिविटी जाना शुरू हो जाता है, आदि शक्ति नारायणी की एक्टिविटी शुरू हो जाएगी, ईश्वरमय अवस्था आपकी होने लगेगी, दूसरों को दिखेगी। आप तो ईश्वर ही हो रहे हो। आप तो कोई एक छोटी सी बीज को देख के, सीड को, जैसे बनियान ट्री का एक छोटा सा सीड ले ले, किसी को कहे कि इसी में बटर वृक्ष बनियान ट्री, या पीपल का छोटा सा सीड बीज लेके कहे कि इसमें पिंपल की इतनी बड़ी वृक्ष है, प्लांट है, तो सीड को देख के कैसे कहेगा कि इसमें बटर वृक्ष इसी से हुआ? लेकिन वो सीड्स में बट वृक्ष है, संभावना है। अब कैसे बनेगी? तो उसके लिए सिंचाई होती है, उसके लिए सीडिंग होगी, मिट्टी में हो जाएगी, फिर वहां से धीरे धीरे उसकी जर्नी होगी, और धीरे धीरे एक छोटा सा बीज से वृक्ष, और वृक्ष से बट वृक्ष बनना शुरू हो जाता है। तो साधना इज अ जर्नी। गुरु यही करते हैं कि सीडिंग कर देते हैं, बीजारोपण कर देते हैं, और साधना भी करवाते हैं, और देख रेख में साधना संयम के साथ, नियम के साथ करे तो हर बीज में बट वृक्ष होने की संभावना है, हर बीज में। लेकिन जहां संयम, नियम, अब कोई पत्थर पे बीज डाल दे तो वहां होगी नहीं। तो इसीलिए देख के ही ये भी दी जाती है दीक्षा, यानी दृष्टि दी जाती है। दीक्षा का अर्थ होता है दृष्टि। इस सृष्टि को समझने के लिए दृष्टि चाहिए। कैसी दृष्टि? तो दृष्टा की दृष्टि चाहिए। चर्म दृष्टि तो सबको मिली हुई है नेचुरली। दृष्टा की दृष्टि जब आने लगे तो हम सृष्टि को और अच्छी तरह से समझने लगते हैं, और दृष्टा ही बनने लगते हैं धीरे धीरे। तो कुंडलिनी जागरण का इफेक्ट हमारे बॉडी पे बहुत ज्यादा पड़ता है। इस कुंडलिनी जागरण कितने वर्षों में बुद्ध को हुई? बुद्ध इतने परेशान हो गए, महात्मा बुद्ध, यहाँ साधना, वहां साधना, यहाँ 5 बरस, वहां 10 बरस, वहां 5 बरस, भोजन तक त्याग दिया कि अब नहीं, नहीं कुछ नहीं। शरीर टूटने लगी, पेट पीठ एक लई लकूटिया टेक, पेट उनकी पीठ में चिपक गई, भोजन ही नहीं किया कितने दिनों से, उड़ियान बंद लग गई अपने आप, फिर भी कुछ नहीं। शरीर एकदम से शिथिल से होने लगी, कोई उससे काम ही नहीं हो सकता, साधना भी नहीं हो सकती। तब उस वन में एक वीणा की आवाज सुर आई बुद्ध को कि वीणा की तार को इतना ना खींचो कि वो टूट जाए, और इतनी ढीला ना रखो कि उससे कोई स्वर ना निकल सके, सुर ना निकल सके। तब बुद्ध को समझ में आई कि मिडिल पाथ इज द बेस्ट पाथ, मध्यम मार्ग। और यही मध्यम मार्ग सनातन धर्म में गृहस्थ परंपरा कहा गया है। जो आप शब हैं, गृहस्थ परंपरा मध्यम मार्ग है, मिडिल पाथ है। कुछ नहीं, सुबह शाम साधना करनी है, मिडिल पाथ है ये। दिन रात आपको नहीं करनी है, आप कोई गिरी कंदरा गुफाओं में नहीं बैठे हो, घर में बैठे, तो भक्ति योग के साथ कर्म योग करते रहना, गृहस्थ जीवन का पालन करते हुए हम जीवन यापन करें, एक दिन पहुंच जाएंगे। जल्दीबाजी क्या है? हम बीजारोपण करें, सीडिंग करें किसी सीड को, बीज को धरती में, और कहें कि कल ही वट वृक्ष हो जाए। दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल। बीज को हमने डाला, धीरे धीरे बीज में चेतना, पंचभूत 5 एलिमेंट्स का कॉम्बिनेशन होगा, चेतना आएगी, फिर उससे स्प्राउट होगा, फिर वो मिट्टी को फाड़ के चीर के ऊपर आता है, छोटी सी वो सॉफ्ट जो होती है, कोमल सी वो पौधा मिट्टी को, धरती को फाड़ के ऊपर आ जाती है कोमल सी, क्योंकि उसमें प्राण, चेतना होती है, और धीरे धीरे वट वृक्ष बनने में टाइम हो जाता है। तो हम कितना भी सिंचाई करें, उसमें कुछ भी करें, हम वो 2 दिन में तो नहीं। इसीलिए संयम और नियम का पालन करते हुए हम अपने आध्यात्मिक रास्ते पर और साधना में हम चलते रहे, तो एक दिन आप बहुत स्ट्रांगली पहुंचोगे। और हर किसी को पहुंचना है। नो वन ऐसा कोई नहीं है जो इस साधना पर चलेगा आज न कल वो पहुंचेगा। तो बुद्ध को समझ में आई कि शरीर को जर्जर बना के कोई फायदा नहीं। मध्यम मार्ग भगवान श्री कृष्ण ने भी गीता में कही है, बहुत खाने वाला कम खाने वाला, बहुत सोने वाला कम सोने वाला, तो बिल्कुल नहीं सोने वाला, इन सब की योग सिद्ध नहीं होगी। योग यानी योगेश्वर की प्राप्ति नहीं होगी, ईश्वर की प्राप्ति में। मध्यम मार्ग अपनाइए, समय से निद्रा भी लीजिए, समय से जाइए, ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में साधना करिए, और जब साधना की लौ लग जाए, गुडाकेश स्थिति आ जाए, तो अपने आप योग निद्रा में रहोगे। आत्मा को नींद की आवश्यकता नहीं होती, आत्मा को भोजन की आवश्यकता नहीं होती, आत्मा को न भोजन की न निद्रा की आवश्यकता होती, आत्मा तो परमात्मा होती है। न भोज्यम न भोक्ता, अहम भोज्यम न भोक्ता, चिदानंद रूप शिव। ना मैं भोजन भोगने वाला हूँ, ना ही हम भोगता हूँ, मैं दोनों नहीं हूँ। आत्मा ईश्वर है। तो शरीर की आवश्यकता है, इसलिए जब तक शरीर की आवश्यकता है, शरीर एक साधन है। शरीर नहीं होगा तो हम आत्मा तक की अनुभूति भी नहीं कर सकते। इसीलिए इस ब्यूटीफुल प्लेनेट अर्थ पे, जिसको कहते हैं कि इस पीरियड ऑफ टाइम हमें मिली है, एक निश्चित काल मिली है, समय, पीरियड ऑफ टाइम के लिए आपको शरीर मिली है। ये शरीर आपका नहीं है, ये शरीर कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ 5 एलिमेंट है। हमारा शरीर कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ 5 एलिमेंट, आकाश, वायु, अग्नि, पानी, पृथ्वी, ये आपका है क्या? ये 5 एलिमेंट जिससे का कॉम्बिनेशन से ब्रह्मांड का क्रिएशन हुआ, आपका है? नहीं है। लेकिन आपको मिली है पीरियड ऑफ टाइम के लिए, जिससे आप यूज कर सके और अपने आप को ईश्वरीय चेतना से एक कर सके। तो ये शरीर तो छोड़ो, पूरा ब्रह्मांड आपका हो जाएगा, पूरा ब्रह्मांड हो जाएगा यदि आप ईश्वरीय चेतना से एकाकार कर दिए। और यदि नहीं कर सके तो ये शरीर छिन जाती, एक दिन आपसे ले लिया जाए, नोटिस मिलेगी, ले लिया जाए। और यदि साधना की जर्नी में है, यात्रा में है, तो आपको समय भी मिलती है, सब कुछ आपका ठीक होना शुरू हो जाता है। तो फिर से हम आते हैं कुंडलिनी जागरण। कस्तूरी कुंडल बसे मृग ढूंढे बनमाही, ऐसे ही घट घट ईश्वर है, हमारी ये दृष्टि देखे नहीं, क्योंकि ये दृष्टि बाहर देख रही है। मृगा जो डियर होती है, हरिण, उसकी दृष्टि भी बाहर, उसकी नाक बाहर, और कस्तूरी की सुगंध बहुत जबरदस्त होती है, सुंदर, इतनी अच्छी सुगंध होती है, इतनी अच्छी उसकी स्मेल आती है कि वो सुगंध स्वयं उसके बॉडी से आ रही है, लेकिन वो सुगंध को झाड़ियों में, घासों में, इधर उधर सर्च करते रहता, कहाँ से सुगंध आ रही, कहाँ से। और जैसे उसका थक जाता है, टायर्ड हो जाती है, सर ऐसे होता है, तो इतनी और सुगंध आना शुरू होता है उसके अंदर कि नींद आ जाती है। और नींद आ गई तो फिर भूल गए, वो सब कॉन्स में चले जाते हैं। फिर जगह तो फिर सर ऊपर उड़ गए, नाक बाहर, फिर नाक बाहर खोज रही है, ये नोज इज सर्चिंग आउटसाइड, नोज इज स्पेलिंग टेकिंग आउटसाइड, बाहर की सुगंध ले रही है, आंख बाहर देख रही, कान सब बाहर बाहर लगे हुए हैं। तो इनर जर्नी हो नहीं रही है, तो पूरे जीवन भर मृग तृष्णा बनी रहती है। इसी को कहते हैं मृग तृष्णा, एक तृष्णा, प्यास बनी रहती है। तो मनुष्य का भी यही हिसाब किताब है कि वो भी खोजते रहते हैं, इस आंखों से बाहर खोजते हैं, कानों से बाहर हम सुन के खोजते हैं, नाकों से, सब बाहर 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 बाहर। तो जैसे ही हमारी इनर जर्नी शुरू होती है, हमारी बाहर की ब्रेक हो जाती है। इसी को अष्टांग योग में प्रत्याहार कही गई। प्रत्याहार यानी बाहर से, यानी इंद्रिय से आत्मा की यात्रा, इंद्रिय से जितेंद्रिय की यात्रा को प्रत्याहार कहते हैं। और प्रत्याहार के बाद ही धारणा आती है। जब तक ये इनर जर्नी शुरू नहीं होगी, अनुभव नहीं होगा, आपको पता नहीं लगेगा कि हम कौन हैं, क्या है, तो कैसे धारणा बनेगी। तो किताब में खोजोगे धारणा को कि हम ईश्वर क्या है, खोजते रहो, किताबों में खोजो, इधर खोजो, उधर खोजो, खोजो खोजो, ठीक, डियर हरिण की तरह खोजते रहे। ये पढ़ेंगे, उस मंत्र में खोजेंगे, उस तंत्र में खोजेंगे। गुरु यही करता है कि आपको इनर जर्नी अंदर की ओर मोड़ देता है, बाहर से अंदर की ओर, और फिर अंदर की यात्रा शुरू हो जाएगी। धीरे धीरे एवरी डे यू विल एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ एनलाइटनमेंट। धीरे धीरे आप एनलाइटन हो रहे हो, जाग रहे हो, आपको अपने ऊपर विश्वास होना शुरू हो जाएगा। एक दिन ऐसी आएगी कि सारे क्वेश्चन, सारे आंसर सब आपको अपने में ही मिल जाए। फिर ध्यान लगनी शुरू हो जाएगी, और ध्यान लगनी शुरू हो जाएगी तो ज्ञान होना शुरू होगा, क्योंकि कुंडलिनी जागृत होना शुरू हो जाएगी आपकी। बुद्ध को भी ऐसी बहुत भटके, लास्ट में उन्होंने प्रण किया कि बस डू और डाई, या तो एनलाइटेंड होंगे, नहीं तो इस शरीर छोड़ देंगे। तो जब ऐसी हो जाए तो ईश्वर की भी वो हो जाती है, तब उनको कितना तकलीफ हुआ, कितना परेशानी हुई। और आपको तो घर बैठे डेली आप कुंडलिनी जागरण कर रहे हैं। कुंडलिनी जागरण का अर्थ होता है कि आपकी ब्रह्मांड में, ये पूरा ब्रह्मांड देखो, सूर्य है जिससे दिन आपको होती है, दिन देखते हो आप, डे। होल अर्थ पर लाइफ जो है इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ सनलाइट, फोटोसिंथेसिस, सनलाइट नहीं होगा, सनसेट हो जाए वाकई, तो फोटोसिंथेसिस नहीं होगी, ये श्वास आपकी नहीं चलेगी। तो कहते हैं ना हम, श्वास पर ध्यान दो, तो श्वास ही नहीं चलेगी तो ध्यान कहाँ से दोगे। तो सूर्य नाड़ी ये हमारी है, और ये है बाई साइड लेफ्ट में चंद्र नाड़ी। सूर्य और चंद्र का खेल। ऐसे तो 93,000 योग शास्त्र में नाड़ियां हैं जो शरीर में दिखेंगी नहीं, दिस इज कॉल्ड हिडन नर्व्स। उसको 72,000 काउंट्स कर लिया गया, फिर उसको और भी शॉर्ट लिस्ट 14, फिर 3 नर्व्स होते हैं जिसको योग शास्त्र में प्राधान्य दिया जाता है। ईडा नाड़ी, पिंगला नाड़ी। लेफ्ट इज ईडा, दिस इज तमिल वर्ड, राइट इज पिंगला, दाहिना पिंगला नाड़ी, चंद्र नाड़ी सूर्य नाड़ी। चंद्र और सूर्य आपके शरीर में है, इसलिए तो हम उस प्रार्थना में करते हैं, लाखों सूरज चांद सितारे अंग अंग को करे उजाले, अमर प्रभु स्वज्ञान जी